What's going on, everyone? So today we have to talk about Bitcoin, and I have a crazy theory for Bitcoin that I have been talking about over 3 months ago, even over 5 months ago. I've been talking about this theory, and now it's kind of looking like this theory could possibly become true. Anyways, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice, but let's get straight into it. So before we talk about the pricing, look at what we're doing right now with the price action. We got 0.5% up in the last 24 hours, but we're still down 8.8% in the last 7 days and still down 2.3% in the last 30. So still down here inside of Bitcoin. A lot of mixed signals have been sent out. So a lot of people have been getting mixed signals. A lot of people are very bullish, and also there's a lot of people that are very bearish. So at this point right now, honestly, we're at a 50-50 area right now. We're at a crossroad at this point. So let's talk about the theory that I've been talking about for the longest time here. And that is that we are going to end up pulling back here a little bit further inside of Bitcoin. It's just a theory. It doesn't mean that it has to be 100% correct, but it is just a working theory right now. And we're going to go over the reasons why I believe that to be so. So first of all, we have the crypto fear greed index. Now, given that it's at 37 fear, that's actually pretty bullish. When the market's fearful, you want to be more bullish. You want to start buying at the lows when the market's fearful and selling off, right? These are still good areas to buy, but I do believe personally that we can drop a little lower, and I might be wrong. You know, we can always be wrong on these type of things. You can never fully track what's going to happen. So I could possibly be wrong. But the crypto fear greed index, that is one indicator that could be a little bullish. But remember, it could get to extreme fear, and if it hits extreme fear, then there's going to be a massive pump. If it hits fear, just remember that. All right. So moving on from that, I know you guys see the little wedge pattern that we have here. So if you do not know what this pattern is, I have it for you right here on the chart. This is called a bearish expanding triangle. So look at this. This is a bearish expanding triangle. What makes it a bearish expanding triangle? Well, as you can see here, it is going up, making higher highs, touching that trend line, while simultaneously making slightly higher lows, right? Slightly higher lows. So it looks almost like a crocodile mouth or something. So you can see that's the bearish expanding triangle. And technically, these are bearish, technically. So technically, we should break down to the downside. But remember, we had some technical indicators were invalidated by Trump. We actually had a nice falling wedge building up. And then, Trump just kind of, well, I don't want to just, point the finger at Trump, but, the whole trade thing with China, that's the whole reason why everything crashed, right? But still, we pulled back. We kind of recovered from there. And now we're at another pullback area. So first of all, this is the daily chart. When we come down here and we look at the percent R trend exhaustion, yes, you could say that at the bottom here, we're about to cross and go back up just like we did here. And we'll have another pump and it'll look similar to this. But the problem is that every single time we come back down, the buying pressure looks like it's getting weaker right here. If you see it, it looks like it's getting weaker and like almost like it's about to break down. And if this happens, guys, I'm going to tell you my target price. A lot of people might not believe me. And if you don't believe me, go back and watch my videos 3 months ago, my Bitcoin videos specifically. Watch my Bitcoin videos from 3 months ago, 2 months ago, 1 month ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago. I've been talking about this for a long time. And if I get this correct, guys, you guys are going to have to give me some credit here. You guys are going to have to give me some credit where credit is due. And then I'm going to know that I'm truly the GOAT once this happens. Okay. So I'm going to know I'm truly the GOAT once this happens. But, let me stop toot my own horn here for a second, because I might be wrong. Remember that, anyone could be wrong in this market. So, it's all about how often you're right and how much you make when you're right and how much you lose when you're wrong, right? I lose nothing when I'm wrong on this because I'm not shorting, I'm just, watching. And if things go down, I'm waiting to get in at a really big discount. And no, guys, I don't think we're going down to to $49,000, because I know you guys are looking at that. You're like, wait, why did he just put that box all the way down there at $49,000. No, that's not what we're doing. So what we're doing here today is we are going to take this box, the date and time range, and we are going to look at something, and we're going to look at how much percentage Bitcoin was down on all these drops on the way up and how long it took. So the down and how long it took before the next breakout, about 32%. And if you look at that, that is a pretty long time. This one was longer than the other ones. This was about 238 days before it finally broke out again, right? And then what happened at this other one? And if for you guys that watch my channel a lot, you're probably remembering, oh, I know exactly what he's doing here. So I'm looking over here now, and we peaked out. Let's technically say we peaked out here because it was a bit higher. So we technically peaked out right there. And for this peak, and I'm not going to do it all the way towards the bottom. Actually, yeah, let's do it from the peak to the bottom. That'll make it a little bit more concise, right? It'll make it a bit more concise. So taking this all the way down here to the bottom candlesticks down here, we have this little line at the bottom of it. They call it like a tail or something, a little bit up there. So about 31.74, and give or take, we can bring this one up a little bit more to try to match it right there. So it's 32% actually right when I got it on the dot. So look, 32%, and we come over here, you can see it's right there on the dot. So this is another 32% pullback, right? So we went from the all-time high previously down to the all-time low. And I was tracking this extensively when it was around this time period here. So we went from an all-time high down to an all-time low. Just to get to the all-time low, this is how long it took us. Just to get to that all-time low, it took us all the way down 143 days, 32%. Remember those numbers, 132 or 143 days, 32%. I almost forgot myself. And then we come over here and we look at that all-time high, and then we look at that low, and now we're looking at 32%, 83 days. It would probably be more if we brought it all the way back to when it first hit the level up there, about 114, 120, give or take. And then when you come up here and you look at where we are now, and the new highs that we just created almost look similar to back here, how we like created two new highs. We had like a head and shoulders. But when you come back here and you look at the same exact situation, take it from all the way up there, that's where we had our previous all-time high. You can see here 126K Bitcoin. That was the all-time high. Oh, I did a Fibonacci, didn't I? So yeah, we're going to take this date and time range up here at 126K. And now we're going to do what? We're going to bring it down 32%. And this has been my theory for a long time. I haven't talked about it for a while, but I've always had my cautions, which is why I'm currently like sitting out of the market, outside looking in right now, thinking like, should I hop in now or no? Like what's going on? What's going on? But anyways, that's 85K. So if we were to follow what we have done the last two times here, we didn't do it back here, or at least I don't think we did, because I checked it like once or twice, and none of these are 30% drops. We did have a 22% drop there. And then right here, we did have a 20% drop, but like this is like the first after we hit all-time highs in the new bull market. So the new bull market started right down here, right? The bull market that we're currently in started January of 2023. And then we hit new all-time highs over here inside of March of 2024. And that's when this pattern started. 32% drop. Boom. Goes up some more. What happens again? 32% drop. And they're all followed by a channel. I actually took the channel off because we ended up breaking the channel. But we were trading in this channel before all the craziness started to happen. This was the channel that we were in, and we were primed for a breakout. But because this here, you could consider it a bull flag type of situation. Not really a bull flag, actually. But yeah, look, we were trading within this channel, guys. We were trading in this channel, and we were supposed to come down here and then break out. And again, it leads down to the same area. Okay. So we had a structure, and the structure was broken by politics and politicians and whales that are manipulating the market. They literally got a bunch of people liquidated. They're literally taking people's money, and there might be another drop. Remember last time, back from the start of this year, from January 2025 down to April of 2025. That whole time was the Terra 4 thing, and now it's kind of convenient how Trump is kind of bringing all that stuff back, and he just keeps going back and forth with it. So, and then he just now kind of took back what he said and was like, "Oh no, everything's gonna be good. Don't worry about it." But what if he comes back on that word because he wants people to buy the dip? So then it drops some more, and then he makes some more news, more bad news, so it drops more on people. So this is it could be bad. Now, a lot of people, they like to say things go down really fast. They like to say stocks take the stairs on the way up and the elevator on the way down, right? That's what people always say. And that's true. If we were to do a dump and go down to 85K, it would happen super fast, to the point where it's like, okay, now we have some time to recover from it. Maybe it takes all the way till not even January. It might not even take that long, because remember, the other one only took 83 days from the all-time high to the new low. So let's say it were to take like 80 days or something like that before, then by December we should start to see some pumping coming into the market. So we could easily see a crash coming down here to 85K, and then some choppiness, and then breaking out going into next year, later on this year, going into next year. That's a possibility. Again, I did mention I can be wrong. Anybody can be wrong. Nobody's going to be right all the time. But when you look at the metrics here, they are kind of pointing towards that. And not only that, see, the only thing really pointing bullish is the momentum of the market. Everyone's buying the dips. Everybody's still super bullish. That's one thing. And then another thing is the fear greed index. When others are fearful, be greedy. When others are greedy, be fearful. And right now, people are fearful, so you would think it's good to be greedy, but not greedy yet. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it, is to not be too greedy yet. But eventually, I feel like we might get that chance. Or it might just take off from here. It might not do any of this, and it might just take off. Either way, I have a good feeling that this bull market is not over, even if we pull back to 85K. We've done this 3 times before, and we've went inside of channels all 3 times on the way down here. As you can see, descending channels on all 3 times. Once here, and I showed you the one here that was invalidated by the whole Trump fiasco thing. But yeah, it was literally the same thing all 3 times. All 3 times, same exact thing. And I've had this one up since 2024. I haven't touched it. And then I just now made these 2. But you can see like that these is literally 3 different patterns, or the 3 same patterns 3 different times, right? We had the patterns of the channels. We had the patterns of the 32% drops. We had the patterns of about 100 days spread with sideways and choppy trading movements. So we're now seeing the same thing. Are we going to drop 32% like the other times? And that is a good question. That's a good question. This is the daily chart. We are seeing some selling coming up and speeding up here on the MACD. So that's always a good thing as well. And then we also have the weekly chart here. And we're seeing some more selling pressure coming on the MACD on the weekly chart. But what's more interesting on the weekly chart is the % trend exhaustion. What happened last time? Well, the long-term trend, which is the blue line, went about halfway down, and then, a quarter way down, and then went back up. And then the short-term trend went halfway down and came back up. If we did this again and the short-term trend went all the way down and came back up, and this is the weekly chart, so this is a long-term chart, which means that these drops in these pumps are significant. And then this long-term trend, if it does the same thing and does quarter way, then we're still going to see a drop. And it happened so quickly. Right here could be 85K. Because right here in April, that same level back here in April was about 85K, right? So the same thing might happen again. And see, 85K wasn't the low last time. it was all the way down here at 74k. That was the low. That was last time's low. This time the low is 85k. And you can see the last time we had that low all the way down here, that last low was 50k. So 32% drops every single time. So that's a little bit odd to me. But it could just be a coincidence. But I'm looking at all the different metrics here and putting them all together and making one theory out of all of those. So let me know what you guys think about this. I do believe that we could see a pullback here inside of the market, a larger pullback than what people are expecting. I see a lot of people saying if we go below 100k Bitcoin, the bull market's over. I was even guilty of saying that before I thought about my theory. And I'm like, oh yeah, no. You got to stick to the theory. You got to stick to the plan. But yeah, a lot of people are saying if we go below 100k, the bull market's over. And I think that's completely false. I think if we go below 100k, it's going to be a bear trap, because then it's going to go even faster. I feel like when it hits 100k, it's going to start dropping so fast that people are going to get so scared, because it's going to almost immediately go from 100 to 90k. And then they're going to see it almost immediately go from 90 to 85. And then they're going to see it shoot and jump from 85k straight back up to 95k, probably damn near 100k. And it's going to be such a fast move that people are going to be scared of it dropping again once it gets back to 100k, because they think we're in the side of a bear market. But the problem is they're trying to get this as low as possible so they can make these moves, and so they can make this pump, right? The analysts that work for these Fortune 500 companies, the analysts that work for these institutional investors, they're way smarter than me. They're way smarter than you. If little old me could come here and analyze these little, these little intricacies that all show up with the same information, if I can do it, someone with no education, if I can do it, what do you think the analysts can do? They could look at this and be like, okay, there's 3 patterns of the same thing happening back to back to back. It's happening on the %R trend exhaustion. It's happening on, and look, I didn't even go over the %R trend exhaustion part, because this part was kind of what almost solidifies what I'm saying, and I kind of feel like it does, but it really isn't like sound, right? It really isn't sound truth. So this third drop could be bigger than the other one. So the third drop could be larger than the other 2, right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and this one should come down here a little bit lower, 3. And the reason why I said a little bit lower is because if you look at the patterns that we're creating, we're also creating one right here. So the blue line is the long-term trend. Notice the long-term trend stops every single time here. So technically it should stop right here, recover, as the short-term trend comes all the way down and brings the price down to 85k short-term, and then recovers from there, and then a huge dump and boom, bear market for a year. I don't know, maybe something like that, bear market for a year. Hey, I haven't thought that long yet, but I have thought about how this bull market ends, and I feel like this is how it happens. We dump to 85k, we do another pump, and we keep going massively to like 150, 175k, and then we eventually just crash. I think 150k is more realistic, but 175k might be like the peak. Like when it hits that, like it's done for now, and that's kind of how it's looking. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. I mean, there's just way too many coincidences here, and when you're trading, you have to realize things aren't coincidences. They're actually patterns that are happening. So a lot of times these patterns can be invalidated. But if they're not invalidated, then you just discovered a whole new strategy of trading and a whole new strategy or a whole new way of looking at things, really. So again, let me know what you guys think about this. I'm just kind of putting it out there because I think that this could be a possibility. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it just takes off. But part of me wants to say hopefully it does, because I have some target prices and I'm going to make a whole video talking about all my altcoin picks. But I've done the math here. And for anybody interested inside of Pudgy Penguins, come over here and look at the Pudgy Penguins chart. All right. And I know you're probably laughing. Like, oh, he went from Bitcoin to Pudgy Penguins. Come on. But no, seriously, look. When we bottomed out on the last run inside of Bitcoin, we bottomed out, for the April run, right? We bottomed out about April 8th of 2025 at 75K Bitcoin, April 8th. Remember that. So if we bottomed out at April 8th at 75K Bitcoin, and we come over here and we bring up the actual Pudgy Penguins chart, where were we April 8th, 2025? We were all the way down here. So we were bottomed out at about 0.005. So I've already done the math for this, guys. And really it was at 0.003, but I'm going to put it up to 0.005 to make it a little bit more obtainable. If this happens with Bitcoin and Bitcoin pulls everything down, we have a possibility to see Pudgy Penguins pull down to 0.005. I know it sounds crazy. I'm going to make a whole Pudgy Penguins video, and then I'm going to go over all of this. But I just kind of want to show people what you're working with. Because if you get in at 0.005, which is about 623 billion market cap, that will give you 2 million coins. My target price for Pudgy Penguins right now, I'm looking at 10 cents. I did say 12, but 10 cents, you'll be able to get out easier. But anyways, that would be $200,000. That'd be going from $10,000 to $200,000, right? So that would be a really, really nice gain. And that's about $6.23 billion in market cap. I think Pudgy Penguins can do that, and I think it can do more than that. And that's why I picked such a low target price, because I'm hopping out at 10 cents. I'm cool with turning 10,000 into 200,000. I don't need to turn 10,000 to 2 million, because I can turn 200,000 to 400. I can turn 400 to 800. I can turn 800 to 1.6 million, and then 1.6 to 2. So you don't really have to do it all in one fell swoop. But when you could do it easily like that, going from 0.005 all the way up to 10 cents on something that you know is solid, that would be a good play. And that's kind of why I wanted to end off this video with that one play. But anyways, that is my plan for right now. But yeah, definitely hit the like button and subscribe, guys. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Become a member of the channel if you want me to go over different projects for you. If you want me to do a deep dive and a technical analysis for you, I'll make a whole video for you for whatever project you want. As long as it's not a low cap scam coin, I'll make a video for any projects for you guys. Just go ahead and become a member of the channel. It's only $9.99 per month. Extremely cheap, and you'll probably make that money back in less than a month. But anyways, this is all I got for you guys today. Hit the like button and subscribe. All that good stuff. And as always, I'll be back with another video.